As to count one, the court is going to maintain my position at this point that there is sufficient evidence to go to the jury on manslaughter, and the motion is denied. As to the vessel homicide, there is sufficient evidence to go to the jury that the operation was vessel homicide operating in a reckless manner. So the motion is denied as to both counts. The defense second motion for judgment of acquittal. And again, I'm going to consider this as the argument you would make and present post a rebuttal witness, okay? Because generally I'll take that after the rebuttal, but I didn't want to, timing-wise, keep the witness too long or keep the jury too long.
And may we inquire potential objection?
Absolutely. It's the state's intention to call Rudy Puig, the father of Kati Puig, not to get into anything other than Kati, prior to this crash, was healthy, was active, was an athlete, and that post-crash, she now is bound to a wheelchair and needs 24/7 medical care. And the reason why I believe this is rebuttal, Judge, is because on redirect, after I had crossed Mr. Mescalato about simply some pleadings that were filed, the defense brought out information which, frankly, I'm not sure if it even violated any kind of confidentiality agreement. I'm not involved with any of that. But the fact that Mr. Mescalato volunteered things like everybody else settled except for the Puigs, I think the fact that their daughter was subjected to a unique level of injury that requires a significant amount of money. I'm not getting into the terms of the money, but simply to establish that the injuries that Ms. Puig suffered were catastrophic in nature. It will be no more than just a couple of sentences, but I think it leaves out there the way that Mr. Mescalato volunteered information to the jury, the thought that perhaps the Puigs were just, looking for money or something, for their golden ticket.
Be somewhat unreasonable. We started to go down a path with the additional questions about the plea litigation that I'm going to allow very limited. I imagine this will be over defense objection. I don't want to speak for you, but I'm thinking the questions in redirect, I didn't particularly expect it, but we got down a path. But again, this is not a feature of the case.
Absolutely not, Judge.
And I would, if the defense requested any kind of instruction, or I may be instructing the jury, I'd like to address that now, because we're, again, in this matter, in the criminal matter, the alleged victim is only Ms. Fernandez, while there were other individuals who were certainly alleged victims. That's part of a civil, whatever the civil matters were, and I don't want to confuse the jury at all. And I want to make it clear that this is the only individual who is the claimed victim in this criminal matter.
I've spoken with Mr. Puig. He understands that this is going to be very, very narrowly tailored questions. The whole thing should not last more than a couple of minutes max. I'm not going to make Ms. Puig a feature of this trial in any way, shape, or form, and I haven't at any point in this trial.
We permitted it. All right. What would you like to say, counsel?
So obviously it's over objection, and I assume Your Honor has ruled. I'm struggling to identify, since the state had, on cross-examination of Mr. Mescalato, brought out the business about the exoneration of liability. I think my questions were focused on what that means, and that it consolidated all the cases. It would consolidate all of the cases. That's exactly what he said.
I think it went a little bit beyond that. Maybe not an exact response to your questions, although I think you were trying to narrow him in the questions. Some of the responses was not clear, I don't think, and I don't see it inappropriate to be clear to the jury that there were different levels of injuries, and basically leave it at that.
Yes.
So could the court, of course, I object, but I understand the court rules, and I'd like to understand then what the court is allowing so that I can...
I don't want to go down that path of monitoring of
Judge, why don't I do
the
this?
jurors, and it's very, very difficult.
Why don't I just tell the court, spoiler alert, this is my direct examination. What is your name? How old are you? Where do you work? Do you have any children? How many? I then will ask him about his daughter Kati, how old she is now. I will ask if she went to a birthday celebration weekend at Ocean Reef Club for Ceci Pino's birthday over Labor Day weekend of 2022, that his family knew the Pino family, and that when she went to go to Ocean Reef Club for that party, at that time she was healthy, she was active, a good student, and an athlete, and that after the boat crash, she is very different. She is now bound to a wheelchair. She requires 24/7 care. She has to get therapy for speech, and that this kind of medical care is expensive. That's it.
So my recollection is in the government, in the state's direct case, they asked several witnesses over objection about Ms. Kati Puig and how she's not in the same condition now that she was before. The court had allowed that already over objection. This is now trying to add
We're getting into a lot of, even though it's a lot of, much more extensive injuries, has had extensive injuries to the point where she has continued care and will continue to need care for the remainder of her life. I think that is all over defense objection that I'm going to allow.
Well, that she's wheelchair bound and that she will need medical care for the rest of her life.
I think, Judge, you've established, you think it's relevant over our objection that she requires continued care. I think if that's what you're trying to accomplish, going into the details becomes unnecessarily inflammatory.
That's not detailed. We could go into a host of other issues that Ms. Puig needs, but the fact that she is now wheelchair bound and requires 24/7 care is the most de minimis way to describe what has happened to what once was someone that was able to go on this journey.
She was able to go on the trip as a healthy 17-year-old, and because of what transpired, her life has changed to the point where she will need continuous care for the rest of her life. Continuous medical care for the rest of her life. And counsel, let me tell you why I'm comfortable with that, okay? Is because the implication perhaps was that there was some unreasonable aspect of the Puig's remaining involved in litigation with the Pinos. I think that covers that issue, okay?
Okay, Judge, that's fine. Let me just make sure that I'm understanding. So Mr. Puig will be able to say now she has injuries that will require care for the rest of her life.
Correct.
Okay.
All right, over defense objection, okay? I think that that's reasonable given Mr. Mescalato's responses that might have gone somewhat beyond the scope of your questions, but he perhaps left some type of impression that I think is fair to allow the state to clear up with the jury, focusing again on this is a criminal matter. This is not a matter involving this kind of civil litigation.
And so if you're going to allow that, then I would propose as a way to communicate to the jury that a stipulation to that effect.
I remind everyone that the alleged victim in this case is Ms. Fernandez, and this is a criminal matter.
What I mean to say is, I understand that the state would prefer to call the father so that the jury can see the father, but given that he is not the father of the technical victim of this case, if the court is going to allow the fact of the required continued care for life, it can come from a stipulation of fact rather than creating even more theater in the rebuttal case.
Judge, I can assure the court that Mr. Puig will not cry anywhere near as much as Mrs. Pino did.
That's fine, okay. We're not going to do that. I don't think there'll be anything more. I'm not going to, don't need to do this through a stipulation. We have the witness here. It's over defense objection for the jury.
calling Mr. Fernandez as a final rebuttal witness.
All right, everyone, if you would, please be seated. All right, state.
Thank you, Your Honor. In rebuttal, the state will first call Rudy Quigg.
So would you please step forward, face the clerk, raise your right hand and be sworn.
Do you solemnly swear affirm the testimony about to give the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Take a seat.
Now we're going to see any witness.
Just maybe approach us 1 second, please. Sorry to the jury.
Good afternoon. Can you please tell the jurors your name?
My name is Rudy Puig,
How do you spell your last name?
P like in Paul, U-I-G.
Okay. As you probably know, this courtroom is large. The microphone, for some reason, was placed over there when the jurors are there.
Okay.
So please try to keep your voice up, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
How old are you?
I'm 54.
Do you work?
Yes.
What kind of work do you do?
I'm a director of business for a security company.
Okay. Do you have any children?
Yes, 3 of them.
Okay. What's your oldest child's name?
Amanda,
And how old is she?
she's 26.
What's your second oldest child?
Rudy Jr., he's 25.
And your third child?
Kathy Puig, who's now 21.
Did your daughter, Kati Puig, go to Ocean Reef Club the weekend of Labor Day in 2022 for a birthday party for Ceci Pino, the daughter?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Does your family know the Pino family?
Yes, we do.
And do you in fact know George Pino?
I do.
Do you see him in court today?
Yes.
What's he wearing, just for the record?
He's wearing a blue suit with a light blue tie.
For the record.
Stipulate.
So reflective.
When your daughter Kati went to go to that birthday party, was she an athlete?
She was an incredible athlete.
Did she go to school?
Yes, she did.
Was she healthy?
Yes, she was.
Now, do you get contacted on the evening of September 4th, 2022 by a man named Hillary Candela?
Yes.
And you learned that your daughter was involved in a boat crash?
Yes.
Is your daughter in the same condition now that she was when she went to Ocean Reef Club?
No, she's not.
Does she now need 24/7 medical care?
Yes.
And is that expensive?
Very expensive.
No other questions?
All right, thank you. Any questions?
No questions.
All right, thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
State?
State will call Andres Fernandez.